Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. Today I'm talking to you about an MVP. Now, I'm sure like many of you, I am not a software engineer. I do not work for a software company. So when I started hearing people over at Clio use the term MVP, I was very confused and didn't know what they were talking about. But as it turns out, within the software industry, MVP and maybe others, MVP stands for the most viable product. And the idea behind it is that when developing a software product or maybe any other type of product, the idea is that as a company, we want to put out a product that works well, is reliable, is dependable, all that great stuff, and acts as intended, but it's not necessarily going to be the best version that it can be. So for example, one of the reasons why I bring this up is because now we're in a time period where Clio is putting out a lot of new releases, and they've been doing it for the last couple weeks, and it will continue, I expect, through the Clio conference next week and maybe even after. And so as we start looking at some of these features that are coming out, in my opinion, there's some really great stuff coming out, which is awesome. But I do recognize the fact, and a lot of people out there are recognizing the fact that maybe this is not the end of that feature. So for example, a couple weeks ago, they put out the templates for the matters, which is awesome because now I can set up a matter template for a different type of case, or if I have a client that sends me a lot of cases, I can then set up a template for all of their cases so that it makes that process of creating that new matter that much faster and easier, right? But of course, when they first has come out within the last couple weeks, you are not able to use that template on the matters that you transfer out of Clio Grow into Clio Manage. And of course, that's disappointing in my book. But the reality is that that's how we get progress with Clio specifically, is they do very often put out a feature that maybe can be improved upon in the future and does get improved upon. But when it first comes out, it may be in a more basic form. So to give you another example, they recently put out a lot of great features, but the one that I'm thinking of in particular was the email feature, right? Where now we're able to write emails directly out of Clio and send them out of Clio, which can be a really great benefit and a great tool to use, right? And so the trick though is when I did my demo on that, which you can go back and look at that video as well, there are limitations where we can attach a document to that email, but it has to be a document that was saved in Clio. Or we can send out the email, but we can't set up any type of signatures that a lot of us are used to in our email programs, right? And so there are some limitations. I, for one, would love to see templates in those email, in that email feature. So there are some limitations and some things that are not quite built out yet. But the reality is that when we do try to use these features, they do work well and dependably in most cases. And so I'm very optimistic and grateful to see the idea that they are still adding on to Clio, making more and more features that have been really useful. And I'm very optimistic that as we continue to progress with the team that's there, that they will continue to improve upon those features. So maybe one day in the near future, we will see templates or, for that email feature, or we will be able to use those, matter templates in order to move our matters from Grow to Manage. So again, the idea being with this most viable product, we do want to make sure that it is something that works well, but it may not be the be-all end-all of that feature. And so it's a business decision. Obviously, I don't work for Clio, and so that's a decision they've made that they do want to put this stuff out, even though there may be some limitations like we've talked about. Now, I think the great part, again, is that we can get a lot of benefit from these features in the meantime while they're working to improve them and make them even better and better, and that makes me super excited. So hopefully you also have been able to get a benefit from some of the features that have come out in the last couple weeks. And if not, stay tuned, because I know from tradition that Clio does put out more features in their Clio conference, or over the couple of days that will be the Clio conference, coming up very quickly here on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So more viable products to come, and do stay tuned here. We'll be happy to feature them all for you. Thanks so much. Have a great evening.